Welcome back to the channel, and like I said in the last video that I had plans for that helmet that I 3D printed, and this is what it looks like. This is one of my... I know I say this a lot of times after I make a helmet, but you gotta admit, that is a lot of work that really pays off. Anywho, let's get into the video. I know that I used this footage in the last video, but I thought it was fair to show that this helmet was 3D printed, and that it was printed in 3 pieces. And although this was a bit of an error when it was printed, it worked out in the end. It just goes to show that even with these gaps and all those little nitpick things on the 3D print, you can make it work. But it takes a lot of effort to get to this. A lot of sanding, a lot of priming, but if you put in the effort, it can be done. After you have it primed and ready, you have to get the metallic spray paint on this helmet. But one thing to note when using metallic spray paint, always have a good coat of primer on, otherwise it will peel off. And I know this from experience. So here's the helmet after a lot of sanding. I coated it with just some amounts of liquid latex, taped it properly, and this is a smoke gray that I used for the helmet. I use a different type of gray that looks like this, but is actually different. But here I am just removing the tape, and it's kind of a bit of a struggle when you're only using one hand on this project. And peeling away the liquid latex, we have left our weathered marks on the helmet and revealing the metallic underneath. So the next part I want to do for this helmet is add some black, and my black spray paint, although it's a couple months old, does have its share of problems. For example, when I'm spraying it on the helmet, it's only angling in a very odd manner, but I still try my best to use it. And in the end, this paint actually did work out. And I really like how the black came out on this helmet. I will use it in another helmet definitely. And this is a matte finish, so it was also very nice. Now, what's a little annoying when using tape and liquid latex is that the tape will always remove the liquid latex that you lay down. But in the end, it's usually not a bad thing. You can always go over again with liquid latex, and it is a little time consuming, but what are you going to do? Anyway, I'm just peeling away all of the tape that I used for this helmet, and that is a machine gray that I just coated the helmet with. And I really thought that this was a different kind of gray, that it was a light gray, but when I actually used it, it was similar to that I used on the helmet. Here I am just peeling away the liquid latex that's underneath, and what I like about weathered helmets is that there's a story that you don't know about because you're not the one that owns the helmet, but an adventure has happened and you want to know what's happened. That's what I really like about weathering, that it tells a story, and that's what a lot of helmets do. Now, after this helmet was mostly done, I still had to finish the parts on the side. This piece right here is painted silver, and I haven't done anything to it for a reason. But there's also a little detail I wanted to add, and that would be this. The lines that we see on Boba Fett's helmet, I want to do with a metallic gray. And this is another can that I had problems with, but made work. And here I'm just peeling away the tape, and this was not too hard to do. I made several strips of tape and just put them on other strips of tape and covered what I needed to do. Anyway, this paint was a little weird when I was working on it, but it worked out. And you always want to avoid using too much liquid latex on little things like this, because you can actually peel away everything if you're not thinking straight. But I like how it turned out. I like this color so much that I actually used it for this part as well. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite colors now. Although the can itself is a little annoying to use, I really like how it works in the end. A lot of cans I've used in the past have their flaws, but you have to learn to make it work. And I made sure to cover up everything as best as I can, and with some practice I found out how to avoid spraying parts of the helmet you didn't intend to without taping them. And that's something that I think is very useful to learn when you're doing this and don't want to use up a ton of tape. Now that part just above the thing that I spray painted metallic gray, that can be hidden with these little things right here, the rangefinder. I coat these in silver, and then for the rangefinder, I tape it up properly and give it a black. And then I use this part right here, I use the metallic gray. I hid some of the silver because if I look at Boba Fett's helmet, it has some silver revealing. The next part I have to do is make the Hobart face shield for the helmet, and if you use this properly, you can have enough for 2 helmets. And that's what I did. Now, I've worn a Mandalorian helmet, and I really like how it feels to wear one of these for the first time. And even though the antenna isn't on straight, I still like how it turned out. Adding the details from Boba Fett's helmet in a different shade is really interesting. All the weathering that happens on this helmet reminds me of Boba Fett's helmet in The Mandalorian. So after all of that, I really do like how it turned out, and there are, I'd say, 3 kinds of grays on this helmet, and each of them are somewhat distinguishable. The metallic one, the smoke gray right there, and just regular gray. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. It's always appreciated when someone subscribes to the channel because we've reached a lot of subscribers in the first month of this year. So thank you all for that. We are so close to 250 subscribers. If you guys subscribe, we can get to that goal as soon as possible. But if you guys don't want to, that's all up to you. Either way, thanks for any support to the channel. Have a good one.